Hi everyone, and welcome to Humans Western Podcast. In today's episode, Will and Greg are joined by Milan Mammen, the Humans of Western president. Hi Milan, how are you?
I'm doing well, Gregory. How are you?
I'm doing great too. Kind of stressed about exam season, but looking forward to talking to you. What made
Yeah,
you
no.
want to join Humans of Western?
Yeah, no, yeah, I get the exam season stress. It's been a tough exam season so far. But yeah, what made me want to join Humans of Western was, so back in high school, I was part of a podcast with BMYC, which stands for Brampton Multicultural Council. And I think so from that council, my partner, he was very into podcasts. He had a podcast of his own. And because of the COVID pandemic and everyone's like starting podcasts, he was like, oh, why not do a podcast for Humans of Western and interview leaders of Brampton. So that's where my podcaster journey started. And I wanted to continue that coming into Western. So I heard about Humans of Western, and I think it was that year they started the podcast. And so I was like, hey, like maybe I can help this club grow. And yeah, I applied after the end of my grade 12 year, and actually Hussein was the one who interviewed me. So yeah, we're like very full circle moment right now. But yeah, he interviewed me, and yeah, I started as a podcaster as you guys are right now in my first year. Then in my second year, I was the podcast director, and now here I am as president.
Yeah, I definitely relate to like everyone making a podcast during a pandemic. I actually made a podcast myself for something called like CAS, which is like Creativity Activity Service. I made
Oh
a
God.
podcast for like that
Cast
project
hours.
uh, just to like raise the number of like hours I could do. And we had talked about life during the pandemic. And I was just wondering, is there like a specific reason why you find podcasting so fun or like so interesting?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think what's so unique about podcasts rather than like watching a video on YouTube is like just like you're listening to music, you can like listen to a whole conversation. And I think that's where I like so grade 11 was the year when I started listening to podcasts. One of them was Freakonomics. And yeah, no, I just like the idea of me just listening to a conversation while like doing my work and yeah, and just it's very intriguing. I think actually last week I listened to a podcast about ChatGPT. I forgot who it was by, but it's just like it was just something I was listening to while doing my biochemistry work, my lab report, and yeah, it's just I think it's interesting how we could discuss and like have conversations, and that's just a platform that people find enjoyment in. So I think that's where I started liking the idea of podcasts and showing my enthusiasm with it. So yeah, I think what that's my answer to that.
Yeah, I can tell you have a lot of enthusiasm even throughout this conversation. I've noticed that it definitely feels like an activity that may seem passive, but there's a lot that you can learn and grow from even listening to podcasts. 'Cause you can listen to virtually any topic through a podcast, and I think that's also why it's really appealing to many people. So
Mhm.
I was also just interested in the podcasting process. I know that we are like, I guess we're like novice podcasters, but with someone that's experienced with you, is there any like particular stage of podcasting, like maybe like video editing or like planning to ask what types of questions? Like what type stands out the most to you? What is the most interesting for you?
I would say for me, um, sorry, I think. So so how I record our podcasts are so my partner and I we would call in the guest, we'll schedule like a 20-minute, sorry, 1 minute. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, my partner and I, so usually what we would do is we'll schedule like a 20-minute Zoom call or meeting right before we actually do the podcast recording. And I think that's my favorite stage of the podcast because that's where you like dig into your guests and you ask like, oh, like what are your interests? What is something that you define yourself as? And just listening to your or like your guests and seeing what they're passionate about and then formulating your podcast outline based on that and saying like, oh, we can talk about this, what about this? I think that's my favorite process of the podcast. Like when it comes to like making a podcast episode. Editing is pretty fun, but I think that like specific part where you're just like trying to see what is that topic and what is that background you want your episode to be and what's that foundation so you can like let your like guests shine through that episode. Yeah, that's my favorite part of it.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. Like the way I see it, maybe this is more like a bio type of way of seeing it, but getting to understand or know what questions you want to ask the other person, that's like the activation barrier. Well, once you
Mhm.
figure out what interests they have or like what you want to talk about, it's so much easier to just even spend, let's say like 30 minutes to an hour of your time just to really get to know that person a lot better. And I think that's also why I like podcasting myself. And because this offers such a great opportunity for you to get to meet someone and to have a conversation with them, what do you think is the one of the favorite people that you have met or you've talked to that had like an interesting story that you would like to share when you're podcasting?
Yeah, no, for sure. And also, I really, really like that analogy. That was a really good one. But yeah, I think that's a good question. I think so with Humans of Western, my favorite podcast episode, um, it would have to be with one of the professors we had, Dr. Hain. He was a professor part of the geography department, and he actually published a book in regards to like just space exploration and stuff like that. And I remember really enjoying that episode a lot. And like actually I read his book after, and he had just so much passion for what he was teaching, and just what it's like to be a professor is teaching his students, what's his perspective. I just found that very, very enlightening. Also, we had a discussion on the spoke, and because he actually was he I think I believe he did his PhD at Western, so he was at Western for quite a long time, and he was telling me like how there was this one sandwich that was always at Spoke, but now whenever he goes, it's just never there. So I think I remember going to the Spoke and asking, it's like, hey, like is this like part of the menu? And they're like, no, what is that? And it's just nice to see how Western and just a little like shop like a little stores and like eateries at Western how they evolved over the years. And yeah, so I think that was like one of my favorite episodes for Humans of Western.
Yeah, that is super interesting how like they remove something from your menu and then like you can kind of see that change over time.
Mhm.
And that actually got me interested. What is your go-to order at the Spoke?
Good question. Okay, so at Spoke, it would be the jalapeno cheddar bagel, toasted with butter. I like just a simple bagel. That would be like my go-to order. If it's at the Spoke Kitchen, then it would have to be their, um, I would say it would have to be their veggie. Shoot, I forgot the name, but I think it's like veggie fries. So it's like poutine, but like veggie. So yeah, that would be my go-to orders.
Oh yeah, I like completely forgot that Spoke Kitchen and Spoke are like two different things
Yeah.
because every time I go there, I get a poutine. So
Oh,
so
fair.
like because that bagel line, like the bagels are amazing, but that line is too long.
Oh,
So
100%. I think like you have to go. like when like class is going on, like you can never go in between like that 10 minutes, but like in between
Yeah.
classes. That's like the impossible.
Like I tried winning a nine and I almost missed one of my classes. So after that I learned that. Like I learned and I decided to just go really early when no one's awake yet, or to
Mm,
go when like in between class times. And then that's like the best time.
no, for sure. How about you, Gregory? What's your favorite order?
Um I've actually only been to like the spoke once. So
Oh,
I'm like
okay.
so I don't actually remember. I think it was like jalapeno
Once?
cheddar or
You've been here
something.
2 years.
Yeah, I know, but like I go to Smoke Kitchen a lot and Subway. Like I think Subway has bigger portion sizes, so like
Oh, fair.
I'm not sponsored or anything, but like I I can definitely tell you my Subway like go to order.
Okay, actually, I want to hear this. What is
Oh, you want to hear
the
it? Okay,
Subway?
okay. So I get a foot long turkey sub on Italian string and cheese, and I get
Mm.
every single topping possible.
Wow. Okay. I will I might actually try that next time.
Wait, actually, except for olives. For some reason, like I
Mm,
just don't like how olives taste. So olives and peppers, I think those two like specifically, I just don't get them. But everything else, like I'm fine with it.
wow. How about you, William?
I don't eat at the Spoke a lot, but usually I just YOLO it with a bagel.
Fair.
Okay, so you're criticizing me for being here for 2 years and only going to smoke once,
Oh
but you
no,
don't
I've
even go smoke
gone.
it.
Oh no, I go. I just don't eat while I'm there. I'm not a fan of the
Oh,
food.
okay.
I go there for the beer.
Okay.
Oh.
Kind of that kind of reminded me. Like I'm personally like nearing the end of my undergraduate career here at Western. And I know that you've also like this might be your last year with Humans at Western. After having finished, I guess, this whole year of being president and having achieved so many things, taking a step back and I guess looking at it from like a retrospective point of view, is there anything that you haven't achieved that you would have liked to achieve? And, what do you hope for the future?
Yeah, no, for sure. I don't think I've actually processed it yet too, that this is my final year of Humans of Western. But yeah, no, I think so from the past 3 years, I definitely watched the club grow, especially with our podcast. Our consistency was like has been really, really good with releasing a podcast episode at least every week. And I was very happy with how we progressed with the interview team this year. We got a lot of picture posts out and a lot of engagement with that too. And I was very happy with all the initiatives we started as well, like Athletes of Western and many making like many reels based on the trends that are going on around like TikTok. And yeah, I think I'm really, really proud of how we um, gotten much more content out this year compared to most other years. I think one thing that I wish that I could have also done this year is to host a Humans of Western event to allow the students of Western to get to know our name a bit better and who we are as a club. So I hope that next year whoever is president or whoever is part of the team next year can help to it can help like facilitate that and yeah, just to get our club's name out there.
Sounds about right. Publicity can't hurt. More with a retrospective. I know that you, like me, were a returning staff this year in residence. Was there anything about being a returner that surprised you? I mean, because like we expect a lot of things, right? For example, we expect residents to be relatively unpredictable. We expect to mentor new staff, so on and so forth. But was there anything about this that kind of surprised you?
Um, yeah, no, as a residence Dawn, I think, and as a returner residence Dawn, I think the one thing that surprised me is how much I didn't know about the job at first. Because like during training, during our L&D 2 weeks before that September date starts, I remember I forget how last year I was just so clueless about the position. And then this year, I was like, oh, this is a breeze. Like I've already been through all of this training. But I forget that, oh, like there's like the new staff that don't that are not familiar with lots of um like what it even means to be like a leader at residence in itself. So I think what surprised me this year is how valuable that mentoring role can be to a new resident staff member. And so this year I was part of the mentorship committee as a mentor. And I think I really, really enjoyed that, seeing how my mentee, just like me, grew from a new staff knowing absolutely nothing, what it means to be on duty, what it means to is handle situations that like is late at night. And yeah, no, I like watching her grow from like just knowing nothing into being a very like great residence don at the end of the year. It's both enlightening and just inspiring. It just makes you feel proud too. It's like, hey, like that was my mentee. Um, so yeah, I think just like it surprised me this year how important and how necessary that is to have that mentorship role when you're part of a residence don, and how that support can change your experience here at residence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's definitely like a really critical team role.
Hmm.
And I think that it's certainly interesting to consider when you think back and realize that like a lot of different building teams might have different like ratios of returners to rookies, and that might actually, then impact the performance of the team at some point. Of course, I think pretty much by the second semester, rookie dons are already, if not in experience, at least in capability, pretty much equivalent to returners. But it's just that that like sort of starting month, couple of months first semester, where I think that that's where the impact of the returners is really felt. And particularly in years where most returners graduate, like last year, when like three-quarters of the MedSid team didn't come back because they graduated and moved on. It's just interesting to think about.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, like it definitely seems really fulfilling how you play this role of a mentor, and I guess you're talking about how you're able to see them grow and I guess overcome the challenges that they face as a rookie don. So I was just wondering, how do you think you've grown and changed, like specifically for Humans of Western and also outside of Humans of Western, like as a person, how do you think you've changed throughout university too?
No, for sure. I think like if I sometimes on my Snap they'll show memories from like first year or like 2 years ago, and I see that I'm like, oh my God, I changed so much from just like first year. Like I think like whenever I see like pictures back from first year, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm such a baby, but it was only 2 years ago. So I think I definitely have grown a lot academically, socially. And I think even like just especially with that socially part, I think like Humans of Western and Residence Dawning has really helped me grow in that aspect. Being more out there, taking initiative with various events. And yeah, I think with Humans of Western, because with podcasting, you have to take the initiative to like go out there, find people that you think are interesting, and then advocate for your team, advocate for like our podcast, and then see like, hey, like, do you want to join? And I think just doing that process again and again for almost 2 years for me, and now being president, and just I think being a president this year has really, really helped me grow as a leader, because now I'm like, oh, like I have to shift my mind from being a podcast director to being like a director for almost all the teams at Humans of Western. So just making sure that the team is organized, the team is getting engaged and is supported, so that they don't feel burned out with all the content that we're trying to get out for Humans of Western. So I think with the Humans of Western aspect, I definitely grew as a leader and even as a residence don too. But I think with residence donning, I think I grew more with my problem solving skills with just like with duty calls or just situations on my floor. I think I think you cannot go without like a year throughout dawning without facing those types of challenges. And I think that really challenges you and just makes you a better problem solver and critical thinker. And I'm really, really happy that I was able to go through that growth. And yeah, I believe I've changed a lot. And I'm looking forward to see how I end my for undergraduate at Western.
Yeah, like I'm really happy that you're able to go through this change and improvement, whether it be through problem solving or just through like you or socially. I think for me, I was also like pretty timid in my first year of university. So I was like really shy. But also, yeah, like I think joining the podcast team and just opening up more in my second year has been really helpful towards my own social development. In relation to what you said about Snapchat, so I actually recently got like a thought position, right?
Oh,
And then so I
Congratulations.
found out. Yeah,
yeah, congrats.
thank you so much. Thank you so
Let's
much. But
go.
yeah, I'm actually so excited. Like I want to like not or like finish my exams as soon as possible and just wait for it to be like like August, September for like a week. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But I actually found out when I got the proposition, right? They were asking for a Snapchat group chat, and then I don't know if it's just me, but I was the only one on that entire team who did not have Snapchat.
Oh,
And then I mean like I think I did a Snapchat, but like I don't like use it. So I had to read so like I like Loki got like like people were asking me, they're like, oh, so do you have Snapchat? Like I don't have Snapchat. And they're like, oh yeah, just make a Snapchat. So I made a Snapchat, I joined a team, but that was like so embarrassing though. Because I did not imagine that out of like I guess a team of like maybe like 30 people or like 20 people, that I'm the only one that doesn't have like Snapchat. And I thought it was very surprising. But
Dude, it was me, but the opposite last year. In my first year,
oh
like our floor group chat was on Facebook. It was Facebook Messenger. There were like 30 of us, right? So then 3 years passed by in fourth year, I'm, trying to set up a group chat for my floor medsid. And I asked my students, yeah, what's your Facebook, accounts? And they're like, nobody has Facebook anymore. And I'm like, what changed? Like, I know platforms, come in and out of popularity, but it was 3 years. Like, what changed?
no,
Anyways,
it's
word on the
actually
street
so,
is I'm a
yeah.
boomer.
Yeah, no, it's actually so surprising how how just like few years so much can change when it comes to social media. Like I'm in the same boat as you, William. In my first year, we used Facebook Messenger, and then this year, all my students, myself, they were advocating for Snapchat group chat. So I was like, okay, might as well just get into that Snapchat grind. So yeah, no, I think definitely being a residence don, you kind of have to adapt to that. See, like what are these students like what do they use? What would they tend to use too? So I think yeah, no, that was really, really surprising too for me, William, and I can echo that.
Yeah.
you know
Like, what happened?
maybe I'm just on like a different generation because I thought Facebook Messenger was only for like club related activities.
Well, yeah, that's a thing, right? Like, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
like Facebook as a platform, but I have it because other people have it. I assume this logic would extend down to like the next few generations. Clearly not.
Yeah, no, I think I use Facebook to like message my friends for like one of my friends, but that's it. It's mostly clubs for me too.
I'm not advocating for anything, but I feel like texting is like by far the most convenient like form of communication. Like it's like the only like social media that like you can't mute. So that's why like if you want to reach me, you always go by text. If
What
you
do you mean
message
you
me like
can't mute? The block button exists for a reason.
okay,
And
but
and
like
and you can on iOS at least you can mute notifications from certain textures.
okay, I didn't know that, and also that is really rude to mute or block someone.
But yeah, certainly time flies. And it does feel weird, doesn't it? Like, I don't know if you're graduating this year, Milan, but it just feels odd to be coming to the end of it all. Particularly because, for most of us who are medical science students, if it's not one school, it's another. Like the education never really ends. So it feels very much not real. Not real as in like, I can't believe this is happening, but not real as in like wherein like, for example, with I don't know, like comp sci, you graduate and start your career, right? For me, it's either master's or professional school or something else. Like we're not really finishing anything. I don't know if you get that vibe, but that's what I've been like. I've been having like a bit of an existential thing going in the last month. It's coming to an end, and yet nothing's actually ending.
No, I can definitely see where you're coming from, William, especially because you're actually in your last year of undergrad. For me too, I think there's a lot of nervousness and anxiety when it comes to, oh, like it's like I just have one more year or two more years left at Western. What is going to happen after? Where am I going to go after? Because yeah, it's not like I'm gonna like go get a job right after my undergrad as well. I would have to go to like some professional school, master's or PhD, whatever the road takes me. But yeah, no, it's very racking, like not knowing where you would end up in a life or like just having that that straight direct like road to follow. I feel like with our program, there's like a lot of chain lanes changing. It just in MedSci itself, like what module you want to go into after your second year, and then where does that take you after your undergrad? Just those little things can really like make or break basically your career. So I think, yeah, no, it's very nerve-wracking and I can 100% echo your feelings with that too, William.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for validating me. I was beginning to think it was just me.
No.
Like maybe I can't like completely validate how you feel, but I I do feel like everything is going by so fast. Like it really feels like yesterday when I first came to Western. Like I was in my first year, but like it's not. I'm almost on my second year, and I feel like I've been here for such a short period of time. I remember in high school, my principal told us that 4 years would feel like a blur to us. That happened so quickly, and I did not believe it. I was like, "Oh, this is my first week of grade 9. There's no way that 4 years is gonna pass by so quickly." And especially with the pandemic, and also just coming to university and everything, I feel like the past like 5 years, like not even like only like the last few years, the past 5 years, like it just hasn't hit me yet. Like I was doing some practice, right? Some practice from 2015. And I did not realize this, but 2015 is 9 years ago.
Oh God, stop. You're making me feel old.
That's actually crazy.
And then like I thought 2015 was like 5 years ago. Like I'm still living in 2020, but it's 2024. And I was just like in shock because of
hmm
Look at this young un over here.
that.
No, but I get it. It's just like when people, I think, I don't know, there's this big joke going around too. Is like I don't I don't understand like people who are born now because like basically like if like like babies who are born in like 2000s or 2001s, like they'll be 10 years old by 2030. And then it's just like just that concept itself is like, wait, then like I'm going to be like 25 or 30. Like it's so mind-boggling, just time itself. And I think the COVID pandemic also really had a big impact on that. I think just throughout the pandemic years, I was in a simulation. Like it just time wasn't moving, and then all of a sudden, like I came to university and time was just moving too fast for me. So yeah, no, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially because like my second year was the COVID year. So that entire year was online. It was a blur of just I know I hated OChem, but I don't remember much from that year.
Fair,
So
fair.
I think that's why, like, for me at least, like I was just thinking about this now, which is, I mean, Greg, you brought up high school. I think 4 years of high school felt about as long as 5 years of university for me. Then again, this isn't necessarily like a new observation or anything like that. I think people have pointed this out for years that,
Yeah.
COVID was just a blur.
Yeah, like those 3 weeks of break that I heard of like when I first heard about COVID, I was like, oh, I'm getting 3 weeks of school off. I'm so happy. I can finally put off studying for my tests. I can relax and I get time to like study like after my break. Because I was like 3 weeks is a long time. And then it went from like 3 weeks to a couple of months to like online school. And like just everything had like changed during that period.
Yeah.
Like I also don't even know if this was like a me thing or just like in general, but I remember like before COVID, there would be like 20 people just sharing like one can of Pepsi, like passing it around. And ever since COVID has happened, people are a lot more conscious about what should be shared or what shouldn't be shared. And like it's like even small changes like this are just really surprising because it really shows the impact that the pandemic has had on us.
Mhm. I think I can give another example too. Before COVID, I remember going into clinics or like walk-in clinics with like wearing a mask. But now if you go to these like clinics, like family doctors, like they require most of them require you to wear a mask now, which is like wow, like that's like just another example how much of an impact the pandemic had on society.
Yeah, and like I'm just really surprised that so much has changed, but like these changes have happened over such a long period of time. It just feels like normal to us.
No, for sure.
Speaking of changes that have happened over a long period of time, I mean, this isn't really a long period of time, but does anyone miss SRAs?
I don't
What
think
are
Gregory know.
SRAs?
Yeah, Gregory
Oh
doesn't
my
know.
God. Yeah, you young one. So
Yeah.
this was a COVID era thing where I think if an assignment was worth, was it 20%?
Yeah.
30%?
No, it's 20. Yeah, no. Yeah, it's 20%,
Yeah,
20%.
yeah. It was like automatically getting academic consideration for it without having to go through the
Oh,
process. All you had to do was report it by yourself, self-reported absence. Um, of course, people abused that, and that's why it was removed. But there were, I think you had like two to use each semester, and it
Mm.
was
oh,
handy. It
It
was
was just two
yeah.
per year, I believe.
Oh, two per year, yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Hmm. No, I
oh,
remember that.
I
It
miss them.
was, yeah, me too. It was, oh, but I can understand it how people abuse it. I remember because my year's the last year, like my first year was the last year that they had SRAs, and I remember how like if you like if you didn't use it throughout the whole year, it's just like your last two assignments, like for instance, like our physics lab and our like chemistry lab, we could have just like SRA'd it and then get that free 100. And I know a lot of people abuse the system that way. And yeah, so I can understand why they got rid of it. It's just it's I think the alternative, Gregory, maybe you know about this, is if it's like less than 10%, you don't need to get like a doctor's note or anything. You just need to talk to your professor and like they can grant you that they can grant you that extension or whatever it is. But if it's above
oh,
10%, then you need that like doctor's note or whatever um a proof for like missing or asking for an extension for the assignment. So that's like the alternative for SRAs. But yeah, no, I really miss that too, William.
Yeah, like as you mentioned, to be fair, like we kind of can see reasons why they would remove it. In addition to what you mentioned with like students abusing it, I remember reading on Reddit from a user who like claimed to be, I think it might have been an assistant professor at Western, who was talking about how SRAs created like a mountain of paperwork for the profs that apparently the university didn't help with. Because you have to
Mhm.
reschedule things for every single student that submits an SRA, and that stacks up very quickly. I'm guessing particularly if you're in one of those 800 person first year classes. So
Yeah.
like I can see why. It's just sad that they're gone now.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm actually learning so much today.
Yeah.
Um, I know
I
for
was
like
actually no, on top of that, I was actually surprised to learn also that we didn't always have two reading weeks.
what?
Yeah, I did.
I could be wrong, but I remember hearing that was something that like student government had to fight for, or something to that effect. I don't remember exactly.
Well,
I am
I'm
so
happy.
happy.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I
happy
am
that we
so
do
happy with
have
the
two
reading.
reading weeks.
Yeah.
But then I kind of do feel like reading week is not really like a break. It's more like a chance for you to catch up with your work.
Oh, for
I
sure.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
But
it also depends, like if you have exams before reading week or after
oh,
reading
that's
week.
true.
Like I know like this year, like I think my first semester, I finished all my exams before reading week, so I can actually use reading week to relax. But in this, like the set my second term, I had exams after, so I was like, okay, now I need to grind.
Getting work done during reading week is very impressive for those who can pull it off.
It is so hard. Like my bed at home is too comfortable. I can't. I can't do work. Like I think I could spend 24 hours in my bed and like I could wake up with like only felt like only slept 8 hours. Because it's like it's gravitating. Like
No, very fair. Yeah, no, it's
yeah,
just the home feeling because
yeah.
now you're in the mindset that oh, you're at Western, so you have to work. But when you're at home, you lost that mindset because for me, like in high school, I had the mindset when I come home, like immediately I have to work. But now I'm like, wait, but I'm at university, so it's not the same environment. So it's just like I lost the motive to work at home. Like home for me now is just a place to relax and just lay on my bed and like watch all the shows I can.
I mean, for me, I don't even feel like the urge to work while at Western. It's just too comfortable. Like we have a nice calf in this building, and also like the staff room is right next to the calf with these huge couches. I could go back to my room and get work done, but I could also just sit down right here and spend 6 hours on my phone.
Fair.
Yeah, like I also realized that I cannot get work done in my room, like anywhere. Like at home, I just can't get work done in my entire house. But like at Western, I can't get work done like in my room. So like if I have to get work done, I have to like lock myself in the library and just like Weldon or Taylor and I have to like stay there for like a couple of hours. I think that's like the only way I can get work done.
Hmm. I think, yeah, no, for me too. I think because this year I have the dawn room, I have that separation between my bed and I'm so sorry, William. But I have the separation between my bed and my workspace now, which I think really has benefited me this year compared to last year when it's like it's like just a single room with your bed and right beside your bed is your desk. So it's just like whenever you just look around, you're like, oh my God, my bed is just right there. So yeah, no, I think like for me too, I have to just walk in anywhere other than residence. I can like walk in like any building. I'm good. Or even just like within residence, the study rooms or just like the main lounges, just anywhere besides my room like was like the my best option last year.
I look miss being in residence because I love those study rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those study rooms are so nice. And also because you get like a sense of like privacy, even though it's not really like private, because you just have room to yourself. I think that's something I missed coming from like first year to second year.
No, for sure. And I think like you also have so many students around you. So when it's exam season, you can tell just from the atmosphere, like,
Yeah.
oh, these like I remember last night I came back to my room pretty late from studying at the library. And then usually because Delaware, the lights are censored. So you can tell if like no one has been in that hallway. So usually at night, it's just like it's just black because the lights have turned off. But yesterday when I came back, it's just like everyone is still up studying, and I saw people in the study lounges. I was like, okay, yeah, it's exam season.
It's actually hard to forget for anyone who's lived in Delaware, the lights are censored because like you compare it to any other building where like you can dim the hall lights and they'll stay dim. Imagine like you wake up in the middle of the night, step into the hallway, boom, you get flashbanged. And then
Yeah.
you go into the bathroom, boom, you get flashbanged again. Like there's no way to dim the lights and keep them dim.
Yeah, no, that I guess yeah, I can see that as being a con, but I can also see it being a con that you have control of like, oh, like the hallway is always dim. So
Well,
like
like
I can see both sides.
that's like a core memory from living in Delaware. That and also living next to the stairwell and hearing the door alarms go off every single time someone tried to sneak someone in.
Oh, I remember that too.
They have door alarms?
Yeah,
Yes.
because Delaware's built like an X. There's a stairwell at each
Oh.
end of the X with a fire door that I really believe they should start installing security cameras for. Just for the sake
Fair.
of everyone who lives next to the fire alarm doors.
Hmm. Yeah, I in my first year too, I lived right in front of the fire door exit. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from, William.
Yep. It's actually kind of funny too, because people use the stairwells a lot. I don't remember if I told this story before, but in my first year, I was working as a tour guide for Delaware. And so imagine me like, telling these parents, Delaware is a great place to live. It's pretty quiet. Your kids can study here. You should really live in residence. We step into the staircase and there's like an overturned pizza on there. And then
Oh.
like the fire alarm go, and then the fire door alarms go off. And then like students come rushing up the stairwell next to us. And I have to play that off like, yeah, so that was an exception. Anyways,
No, I can definitely get that.
yeah. That being said, like if you're like a science student, there's nowhere else you'd rather be. NCB is just up the road. You have a class at 8:30, wake up at 8:29, things work out.
Hmm. No, I 100% agree with that too. Like as a science student, is Delaware is the best location as a residence.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right beside like Natsai,
Yeah.
NCB and Taylor, and it's like all you ever need.
Yeah.
I actually really like Natsai as like a study location. Like for me personally, Natsai, it feels like my home away from home. I know that sounds really weird and like pretty sad actually, but like Natsai is everything. It has like a food hub, it has like a library, and that's all I need. So like I'm basically living there if I'm not at home.
Yeah, no, I think this year too for me, NASI was my go-to building. I spend most of my time on that side. Actually, yeah, no, I wanted to ask you guys too. Are you a Taylor or a Weldon person or any other library person?
Re-renovation Weldon.
Okay.
I
Wait,
don't like
renovated
the new
Woden?
Weldon. I'm sorry. Like I know this is like an unpopular opinion, but like I don't like the new Weldon.
Mm. I forget how Weldon was like before the renovation.
I don't like it's just I don't know, it's just like the vibe. Like there's nothing objectively wrong with like, Weldon as it is right now. It still serves its purpose, right? There's tons of tables and desks and little study nooks to study in. It's just renovated. It just looks worse. That's a hill I'm gonna die on.
Fair.
Yeah, for me, I'm more of like a Taylor person. I feel like Taylor, it just feels very cozy. Like Woden, it just feels big. But like Taylor, it feels cozy. So I'm gonna get comfortable. I'm gonna start studying, and there's also like a lot of tables on like the M floor, like the main floor. So it's really nice. And I've actually bumped into you so many times at the cafe website at Insights.
Yeah, no, Taylor's also my go-to spot. I it's like and it matches every mood I'm in personally. For instance, if I'm like oh not in the like in my like lock-in zone mood and just like want to just work on I don't know like the lab report, I'll be at Einstein's or main floor or maybe even the stacks. But if I want to lock in, cubicles are just down below. So
Yeah,
I can navigate through Taylor however my mood tells me to do so.
I actually like love the stacks because like there's so many tables and it's also like quiet. So it's like the best of both worlds. But then stacks, the one thing that like really scares me is that every time I'm walking through stacks, I hear like my steps like stomping, and I'm just like, is this floor gonna like give way? Like I actually get so scared of walking through stacks.
No, it's so interesting how we can actually see right below the floor.
Yeah,
So yeah, no, I think the first time when I walked through stacks, I was like, whoa, is this even allowed? But yeah.
Always fun to just walk through the stacks and feel your like footsteps reverberating throughout the floor.
Yeah.
Have you guys been to the law library?
oh yeah, I have
Yeah.
been to the library.
It's
It's
so quiet.
nice.
It's so
It's
quiet.
it's
hmm
nice. Like I actually feel like I really like the other buildings that are also like not, I guess, science related. Like I really like the End building. It looks really nice, and it's also really quiet too.
No,
And
for
Law
sure.
Library too, and also Ivy Building. I also like the Ivy Building a lot. It's kind of far.
It's nice to explore the buildings on campus.
Mm. But you know, it was always interesting to me how I like End students they have the End building, Ivy students they have the Ivy building, but like Med Sci students we don't have any building. And I was like, we should have a building.
Isn't the medical science building for med-sci students too?
I mean,
I thought that
technically, yes, but
I
it's
thought that like
mostly
Trulek
like
did.
classrooms. It's mostly like closed classrooms
Mm.
and like offices and like labs and stuff in my experience.
Fair, but I think like for me this year as a third year student, I know first year and second year I barely went to a med sci
Mm.
building, but third year most of my majority of my classes were in the medical science building or the dental science building.
Oh
Yeah.
wait, that's pretty cool.
See,
hmm
last year living at medicine, I had to cross campus all the time because I had classes at MSB. And so I
Oh,
was like, hey, I'm getting moved to Saugeen. Maybe it'll be a shorter walk. Nope, my classes this year for in-person classes were in NCB.
no.
Like, I think the universe just wants me to walk. I mean, God knows I don't get out of my room enough. So,
Fair, yeah.
any final remarks, questions?
Yeah, I really enjoyed our conversation discussion here. I think it was nice to talk about just my journey through Humans of Western as a resident Ston and just the closing. of third year and what I anticipate to look for in my fourth year. And yeah, I hope to see you guys again, maybe before the school year ends, but or next year. We'll see. Thank you guys.
For more content, you can follow Humans of Western on Instagram at humans_Western and at Humans of Western on TikTok and YouTube. We've been William and Gregory. Thank you for listening and have a great day.